So I think we can all agree that this movie wasn't the best. But like everything in the universe, for every yin, there is also a yang. And in 2009, for every movie, you get a shitty movie video game tie-in. Usually. This time, the game was not only playable, but actually enjoyable and satisfying. But what made this work where everyone else failed? What made this a gem among the mediocre? Well, let's start with the creation, made mainly by Raven Software. You had Amaze Entertainment, Kryptonite Games, and EA Mobile helping port the games over to different consoles and phone. But we aren't talking about those ones. Those are the standard ones. Those are the ones people rightfully throw away.
Know your fucking place, trash!
No, there is another. For every yin, there is also a yang. Yeah, I said that before, I know. We are just going second level of yin-yang deeper. We are double yin-yanging. Okay, enough metaphor. Time to let me out of my cage! This is the Uncaged edition, or the uncensored version, which honestly I never really heard of with video games. Usually that would be a remaster or a remake. But uncensored? No, games are already expensive enough as is. Plus, to make a deal with the ESRB rating, given twice for the same game, based on a PG-13 movie about a man with claws for hands. Not to mention they had to cover up the violence with low resolution and graphics, just so Timmy could play for half an hour before returning to Minecraft for 6 hours. Oh dear, going cross-eyed. Okay, so the Uncaged edition is the way to go since we are not missing anything. Raven Software made most of the game from the plot and gameplay with the Unreal Engine 3, but the part that most people remember probably comes from the opening scene. This part was done by Blur Studios, and it's probably what sold people on this. With Raven Software, they did have experience not only with different types of games, but even with the Marvel properties. They have a few other properties that they made in the 90s that I would only say are Doom copies. That's not a diss, just that they borrow a lot of the aesthetic and gameplay from Doom. But haven't got around to those yet, but we'll need to at some point. So all this hype for the Uncaged edition. What exactly is the gameplay? You ever played this? Or be able to do this? Then that is pretty much Wolverine. The only difference is this Wolverine's got hair, replaced blades with claws, and unfortunately, no minigame of this. So the gameplay is pretty fun, especially when trying to find the different ways to kill some of them. You could take a head on with the claws, doing combination attacks with light and heavy attacks, with jumping and grabbing also being options. You also have the special attacks that make you near invulnerable once you fill the meter up enough. You get 2 health bars kind of. The first is regenerative health bar that can recharge, while the second one can't and only comes up if you take too much damage. While you can run around, I prefer using the lunge just to close the gap faster. You have claw spin attack, or spinning top attack. You also have claw drill attack that is a frontal drill attack. Claw cyclone is pretty much just claw spin but on its side. And berserk is a strength boost that makes short work of enemies that can't be taken down with simple attacks. And they do allow for upgrades. You can make your healing better armor, stronger attacks, special move. There's a lot to upgrade and make you an all-fearing god, kinda like Kratos. You also can add special mutagens that add an extra spice to your attack or defensive moves. Or if you want to get frustrated, don't upgrade anything. But I warn you, this ain't Elden Ring, and some of the attacks can be impossible to dodge, no matter what you do. Your only lifesaver is the mandated power-up, but be careful, they might upgrade something you weren't expecting. Now we get to the big weakness of this game. So, spoilers, I guess, for a game that was tied to a terrible movie. So first, the good news is that because they were already working on this, and they were working on the movie at the same time, they didn't want 2 Wolverine games coming out at the same time to confuse the market or hurt each other. So they combined them. The movie gets their game, Raven Software doesn't need to foot the bill as much, and have a story planned halfway down the road. The movie also did get delayed a year, so this was just extra time for polishing Q&A testing, which explains why it functions really well. While the graphics aren't that good, you have to take into account what came before and what the limits on this was. Limited time and story. They got Jackman right, and some of the main cast, but others were generic or way off. This is also one of the few games Jackman himself did the voice for. Normally they call Steve Bloom if you need a Wolverine. But hey, already had Jackman, so he got to be Wade. They also got the like of Liev Schreiber and will.i.am to reprise their roles in the game. So story starts us off in Africa, where Wolverine starts killing off soldiers and probably residents of that country. Hey GN, I have a great article you could do! Side tangent, this is supposed to be Angola, but the movie we are in Nigeria. Nothing major, just a further divide between these two. So fighting our way through soldiers and monsters, through the jungle, and just to take in this game, especially with what you could do. So after killing off some soldiers in some brutal ways, and talking with Creed, we jump to 3 years later, where we do the bar fight, and if you want to see some fun secrets, here we have the jukebox. And if you keep beating against it, it'll change stations in music. After that, Victor kills the girlfriend, and Logan is approached by Stryker and offered the metal claw upgrade. Of course, Logan takes it, and some flashbacks of what we will see later come, and like in the movie, say how you're going to betray him while in the same room as him. And he has super senses. This is where Raven's software starts to have fun. While in the movie he gets out of the place fast, goes to Martha and John Kent's farm, does a fight scene where this guy dies. The game is a lot more fun of escaping, it makes you feel more earned, actually using established lore from the X-Men trilogy. Making your way through the base, we get help from someone with the last name Frost, my guess for a surprise cameo later in the game. There isn't one. We also get an annoying girl whose power only works when it's convenient. She eventually teleports away. We never see her again either. Was she a character from the comics or movies? Don't know, don't care. We battle our way out of the base and into the wilderness and outside facilities. We do have fun just tossing these guys at trees just to decorate them. Also coming across this nice little Easter egg, but that'll bring us to today's sponsor, NordVPN. Staying safe online is an ever-growing difficulty, and it could be exploited by hackers. NordVPN allows you to change your IP address, making it harder to track, securing your privacy. Check out the link in the description and get 20% off your first 2 months. And thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. If all that doesn't work, we send one of our many Nords to the hackers and fucking kill them. We will do anything to protect your privacy. Anything! After killing our sponsorship with Nord, we further deviate from the plot of the movie and probably the most fanfiction part. So, spoilers. We head over to the southwest where Project Wideawake, aka Project Woke, is happening. Logan only came here to find Rafe from the Black Eyed Peas. While trying to find Rafe, we run into Raven, who was also part of the strike team with Logan, but thought to be dead. This is where we are completely different from the movie, because these parts are not and characters aren't in the movie at all. The most fan service I saw from the movie was bringing Scott Summers and Storm into the mix. Raven leads us through the facility with many portal puzzles that is giving me some serious deja vu Easter egg vibes. We make it through, even running into surprise guest Trask, X-Men villain who loves them giant robots. He gives us a hand to finally access Rafe's cage and to let him out. Raven also lets us know that since the fake death, they've been going steady and they are having a baby, and they might name him Kurt. Wait, teleportation? Blue?
That was terrible!
Horrendous!
I'm offended!
I'm appalled!
So what are we gonna do?
Oh, what else? Email it to everybody we know!
Good idea.
Apparently Wraith has the same rule as Anna and can only teleport one at a time, but I know the real reason. So we battle a giant sentinel that really could have used some more polish in how to fight it, but that's mostly because this kept happening.
Why? Why?
Finally get to Fred Dukes at the grocery store, which makes more sense than the gym in the movies. This part was honestly pretty fun, just because I was literally working him like a bull. He tells us about the island and how only one person escaped, Remy LeBeau, aka Gambit. I should also mention, since this is a short game, to pad it out, we will flash back to Africa, do some light puzzle work, catch a cutscene, then return to present. Going through the game, enjoyment was steadily rising, but now that has peaked and it starts to slowly descend. We enter the 4th chapter, where we need Remy to show us where the island is. This is also where the movie's plot starts to rear its head. Like the movie, Logan goes to him to find out where to go. This part I don't particularly like because instead of being a part or 2 fight, it was going for like what felt like 5, constantly taking him down, only for him to squirm away and have to chase him down again and beat him down again. So while trying to find my way up, I do run into some of Runny's henchmen, Lady Machamps. An interesting development where the Lady Machamps start fighting Striker soldiers, I guess in order to speed the game along to the end. Sabretooth kills Wreath off screen. How'd he do it? Tearing him apart, eating him up? Probably the only cool part of the movie where Wraith is killed because Sabretooth was inside him. We must be playing at 2 times speed now because the 5th and final chapter is probably the shortest. We just drop it to the base. We don't even see Remy again. It almost feels like the abridged version. We start getting a whole lot of experience because we are starting to get to the last 2 fights. Before the first fight, the movie starts to kill the story more. Like the movie, Logan finds out the truth about Kayla's fake death from Stryker, and unlike the movie where he just walks away, he's offered a way to erase his memory, and for some reason takes the deal to put on the machine to erase his memories. How'd that last deal go with him again?
Erase his memory. Erase his memory. I think you heard you.
Memory you ever had will evaporate like it never happened.
Good.
Why can't you forget like the rest of us? He eventually changes his mind when he sees Kayla's in trouble, but it's still dumb no matter which version you go with. After that dumb plot twist, we go into the fight with Creed, which is a lot easier now with all the upgrades they got. After that, Kayla goes to help her sister, the reason she did any of this. Meanwhile, we final battle with the meme, the legend, the reason this whole movie franchise went under. The final fight with Wade Wilson is honestly a little underwhelming. Barely an inconvenience. After that, we just get cutscenes. First with one last talk with your brother, saying we are not so different, you and I. Then we go back into the movie plot where Kayla and Logan try to long walk into the sunset, but Stryker is jealous and shoots them both with the adamantium bullets. Kayla saves the day with her suggestion of taking a long walk. Then takes her own long walk into the water for some reason. She had enough time to do a dramatic long walk into the water, but couldn't just put down a few info for him when he wakes up in the sand. After that, Logan long walks off into the sunset, into the future, and has a talk with Trask, with a new hand. Looking like setting up for a new game. That will never come. So how was it? Not great, but I don't really blame them for that. They join forces with Fox. The upside is that they cover the rent. Downside is that they get creative control over the story. Raven Software tried their best with what they had. You can see what they try to get away with it in 70% of the game, but the mandated 30% had to be in there. It really brings down the story. From characters that came and went, to the plot just happening because, and again, being the better looking twin to this piece of shit. So besides gameplay and story, is there anything else? Well, soundtrack is very standard. Nothing really stands out. Graphics for 2009 can be great to For replay, you do have these Wolverine statues that unlock Wolverine boss fights that you can do to get the costumes, including the Covenant one. And one interesting aspect with the replay, there is only 5 chapters, but they also have sub-chapters, so if there is one specific section you want to play again, you can. That's the thing I do wish more games can implement today. I love to play games, but I don't want to have to play through 30 or 40 minutes just to get to the one part I want. Raven Software made some other IPs after this, and are still around today. They mainly just help build up the next Call of Duty game. Overall, for ratings, let's try a different approach. I rate this game a decent sub in a shitty neighborhood. You are in a part of town no one wants to live, and doesn't have the best ingredients, but you found the one place that can actually make a decent sandwich, given the circumstance. As for where you can pick up the sub, well, unfortunately, because of a deal with Activision, many Marvel games got delisted from store shelves to digital platforms. The only way to play legit is to get an Xbox 360 or PS3, and a copy of the Uncaged edition. But a console from 2 generations ago will sell you back $100, and the game right now is going on eBay for like $80. So $200 just to play a shitty movie tie-in game, or you could get a copy by other means. As for remasters or sequels coming out, no and no. The remasters are reserved for the ones that actually pull their numbers. The game got a few awards and reception was very mid. The movie actually pulled its numbers opening weekend, so everything after that was gravy. But everyone agrees now, the movie sucks, and since the game can't be separated from it, no remaster. And since the X-Men timeline is done, no sequel. The only good news is that after 15 years, Wolverine is finally getting a decent solo title by Insomniac, and he is finally in his yellow suit. So to end on a bittersweet note, the access and potential for this game is buried and dead. Pool is looking nice this time of year. Maybe I will visit over there again. Wait, what's that noise? No, I didn't say that name! No! No! No!